My name is Marnie Richmond, and I am here with Marilyn Bradford. And today we are going to talk about the many faces of addiction. So, Marilyn, why don't you just jump in on wherever you would like to start with that topic?
I would love to. Thank you, Marnie. Well, people think addiction is about alcohol and drugs, which it can be. That's one way it can show up. But addiction is really about an energy where we leave ourselves, we leave our very beings, and we make something or someone, alcohol, drugs, trauma, drama, Facebook, anything. It doesn't even matter what it is. People can be addicted to being perfect, to being right, to being wrong, to controlling others, to being angry, to being depressed. These are all places where people go, I'm just going to be over here. And why does that matter? Because if you don't recognize that addiction can show up in so many different ways, then you're not going to see it when it's present in your family, in your culture, in your community, at your workplace. How many of you had a boss that's addicted to criticism or addicted to power over? I mean, those are both addictions. So when we talk about addiction, it's really important to talk about the energy of it and how it can show up rather than just, oh, it's those people with alcohol and drugs.
Yeah. So, Marilyn, what would you say? What is that energy? So it shows up with all these different faces and all the ways that it comes out. What is taking it to the kind of the seed of it, if you will? What is that?
Well, one thing you'll notice is it's a contraction. It's kind of an automatic response. We can see it with the alcoholic. I'm stressed, I need a drink. It's much harder to see it with things like power over. But notice, think about a time when someone kept having power over you, or they were addicted to being the most important person and you needed to be less. And just notice it's almost like an automatic thing for that person. Every time there could be an instance where you were going to shine or you had a greatness or something, they chomped on down you. That's the energy of addiction. It's an automatic response to a situation. Does that help, Marnie? I'm not sure.
It totally does. And I wonder how much of that sort of seed of it also is the belief that there's something that you lack. So you're lacking something. So you're looking for something outside of you to tell you that you're okay. And whatever that is for you, maybe it is when you lord power over another. Maybe it's religion. Maybe it's going to church 3 times a week, because that's where this sort of sense that I'm lacking something lessens when I go to this environment or when I go do this thing. Then I feel better for a little bit. So I wonder could you talk a little bit, Marilyn, about recognizing ourselves as the source of our lives? Because when we get that, then we stop looking out here, which takes us away from addiction and into empowerment.
Yes. I mean, that's, if we could all just go zoom, that would be awesome.
Right? Magic wand. Poof,
magic
poof.
wand, but that's absolutely right. Absolutely correct, Marnie. Thank you for that. Addiction is always about having some sense that you lack something, that someone or something outside of you. Claiming yourself as a source can be really like, how could that even be for a lot of us? Because we were never taught that as children. Yeah. We were always taught that our parents were the source, or somebody over here was the source, the expert advice, the teacher was the source, the doctor was the source, anything but us. And with that came that sense of lack. That's so much about how that lack got created. That and some sense of wrongness, because if we can't see ourselves, you can't really be aware of ourselves as the source. We can't trust ourselves. We have to make ourselves wrong. We have to then look outside of ourselves. So you put that so succinctly, the whole thing of getting past addiction is getting to each of us as the source of our lives and the greatness of us.
And as you pointed out, if we could just, poof, get there, the challenge is when you live in a family of addiction, you don't count. I mean, you are there to support and keep the secrets going and keep the system going and not disrupt the crazy town that's going on. So you're nowhere in that computation. So
Yes.
then thus, people often ask if addiction is hereditary, to which, Marilyn, you speak to this awesomely, and you can say it to me, I wonder how much of it is you're in the environment where there's addiction. So you see it and you're not included. So then you start looking outside of you too, because you're not getting fulfilled with any kind of acknowledgement of you. So can you say more to that whole piece?
Well, yes, absolutely. And when you have a family where people are addicted, nobody's present. So the child has no concept, no experience of what being present in their life is. So there's that kind of double thing. You don't know what being present. What does that mean, being present? I think I'll get on my phone. So there's that. And just as you said, you're not included. You don't count. So of course you have to start looking outside of yourself, because you have to find some place to get value from, or to escape, or whatever the most important thing is, in terms of just trying to find an identity, or trying to not be, or trying to deal with this insanity of your family.
Yeah. So if somebody's listening and they're identifying with what we're talking about, and they are familiar with that sense of lack, and they know about trying to reach outside for something to fulfill or make them feel better for a minute, don't have a sense of self, family they grew up in didn't foster that, where does somebody start to move out of that addiction and into something else?
That's a huge, wonderful question.
It's a 3-day class question, maybe a 10-day class question.
Maybe a 10-day
But we'll start.
class. But a lot of it is, if I weren't buying into these points of view, what would I be? Awareness. It's about learning to bring awareness and trust in yourself in. Now, that's a tall order for a lot of people. And you can start with easy things. Okay, it's Saturday. I usually, run 2 marathons, drink a bottle of vodka, make sure that I'm right in every situation. If I weren't choosing that, what would I be aware of? And just asking that question can begin to bring you to yourself. And you might go, I don't know. Just sit with it. Just be with it. Another way to bring awareness into your life is to do something different every day, because so much of addictive behavior is when you're on automatic pilot. If you have a sense of, oh my gosh, I don't think this is going to go right, I better go shopping. Pause, ask a question. I wonder what else I could do. And then don't deprive yourself, but just say, okay, for a half an hour, I'm not going to go shopping compulsively. I'm just going to take a walk, or I'm going to have a cup of tea. Or it's so much about changing what's been automatic in your life, the automatic responses to everything, that can begin to give you, wait a minute, who am I and where am I in this situation? And ask what's possible. This is one of my favorite, this is an access clearing, but what have I decided is not possible for me in relationships, in my life, with money, in my business, with my friends, that actually is possible, that if I would allow the possibility, would actualize a totally different reality. And whenever I'm stuck on something, I use that a lot, because so much of what keeps us in addiction is that we've decided we have no choice and nothing else is possible. But actually, that's not true. So everything that is, and this is the access clearing statement, right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, online shorts, boys, bovids, and beyonds.
And another thing that I love to play with is to look at if there's something that is the addiction or the autopilot. You brought up shopping. So when that thing shows up of, oh, whatever's going on, I want to go shopping, to pause and go, okay, what is it that I've decided shopping gives me that I desire to have in my life? Oh, well, I'm bored and it's fun. Or drinking a bottle of vodka. What is it that the vodka gives me that I like in my life? And I've decided it comes from vodka. Oh, I relax.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, where else does that energy of relaxation exist? Universe, will you show me? Oh, it's over, out in nature. Something will call you when you ask the question, where else is this energy? If I hadn't decided that I get this energy from here, or I get this response from this substance or this activity or this person, where else does it exist in the universe, in the world, and universe, show me? And then when those things ping, go there. I've said this to people when they've fallen out of a relationship for whatever reason. Well, I just miss that person. I miss them. Cool. What energies did you allow you to be when they were present with you? And what energies did they bring into your world? Well, so everywhere you decided that that's the only place you can get that, if you destroyed and uncreated that, where else could you receive it from?
That's beautiful. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So just getting beyond the autopilot and the habit by, as you and I have both said, Marilyn, asking the question.
Yes.
To go beyond.
And practicing being present. I mean, that is really lower your barriers, lower your walls. Be with an animal. That's a great way to do it. If you have pets, my kitties, I have to be present with my kitties. You have to be present with a baby. They're just things that demand that you be present. And that's the thing about automatic that can really disrupt that. I once had a client she said she was an alcoholic and everything. She said, I'm going out for Mexican food and I always have a margarita. What should I do? I said, have it with awareness, be absolutely present with it. Not, oh, margarita, enchiladas, margarita. So then when she came back the next week, she said, you know what? I discovered I don't even like margaritas. It was such an automatic thing.
Yeah.
That she wasn't present with, that the experience really changed things for her. And that's it. When we practice being present, you'll have all kinds of knowing and awarenesses that you cannot have when you're on automatic pilot and in that addictive energy.
And one of the greatest tools that I've discovered, an access consciousness tool for being present, is the tool of 10 seconds of choice. And so what that means is literally every 10 seconds asking a question. So even if it's, yes, I do wish to have a margarita, it's not now I must drink the whole margarita or I must order 3 before I leave the restaurant. It's
Right.
Take a sip of a margarita. Do I desire another sip of
Yes.
this margarita? Yes or no? So that question constantly, and then choosing from being present, as you said, Marilyn.
Yes.
Yes. So all of these things, and there's a lot in this very short conversation, but these are some of the ways that you can begin to move out of addiction and into a totally greater possibility of freedom to have and create a life that actually works for you, one that you actually wake up happy to be in. So,
Yes.
And Marilyn and I are going to be having a much more in-depth conversation on this in a class that we're doing called Families and Addiction, which is in March. And I'm going to CRS, can't remember the day it is. So we will put it in here somewhere so you can find it. So anything to wrap us up with, Marilyn?
No, just thank you. I'm really looking forward to doing this call with you, Marnie. I love how the information just goes and creates more and more insights and more awarenesses. And I think it's going to be an amazing call for anyone who's experienced pretty much any dysfunction in your family, growing up or now. Oh, I just hear March 6th, 7th at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 8:30 Pacific, 11:30 Eastern Time.
Look at you. That was good. Thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Marilyn. Yes. So look forward to it. And thank you for listening.